In the cold depths of space, far from the warmth and light of Earth, a solitary ship drifted through the darkness. Its sleek, angular hull bore the scars of countless battles, a testament to the unyielding spirit of those within. At its helm stood Captain Zara Solari, her piercing green eyes fixed on the holographic displays that surrounded her. Zara was a warrior, born and bred. From her earliest days, she had been honed into a weapon, forged in the crucible of Earth's militaristic society. She had risen through the ranks swiftly, her tactical brilliance and indomitable will setting her apart from her peers. Yet for all her triumphs, she now found herself in exile, cast out from the very world she had sworn to protect. Her crime? Daring to question the wisdom of Earth's leaders, who had grown complacent in their dominion over the stars. Zara had seen the signs, the gathering storms on the horizon. She had warned of the growing threat posed by the alien empires that lurked in the depths of space, their envious eyes turned towards humanity's shining worlds. But her words had fallen on deaf ears, and for her temerity, she had been banished, sent to patrol the fringes of known space in an experimental vessel, far from the politics and intrigues of home. But Zara was not one to wallow in self-pity. She had taken to her new command with grim determination, resolving to do her duty, no matter the cost. The Arxi Nemesis, for all its advanced technology and formidable armaments, was a ship of outcasts and misfits, individuals who, like Zara, had found themselves on the wrong side of Earth's favor. There was Commander Cade Weston, Zora's second-in-command, a grizzled veteran who had seen more than his share of bloodshed. His tactical acumen was matched only by his loyalty to Zara, a bond forged in the heat of battle. Lieutenant Nix Velaris, the ship's enigmatic navigator, was a prodigy whose uncanny ability to chart courses through the treacherous currents of space was whispered to be the result of illicit genetic enhancements. And then there was Dr. Ezra Malik, the brilliant but troubled engineer responsible for maintaining the Nemesis cutting-edge systems, whose genius was tempered by a haunted past. Together, they formed the core of the Nemesis crew, a band of exiles united by their dedication to their captain and their unwavering belief in humanity's manifest destiny among the stars. As they patrolled the border sectors, responding to distress calls and quelling pirate incursions, they clung to the hope that their actions, however small, might one day prove their worth and earn them the redemption they sought. It was during one such mission that the first whispers reached them, fragments of garbled transmissions and distorted sensor readings hinting at a gathering of alien forces beyond the edge. As she stood on the Nemesis bridge, poring over the fragmentary data, Zara felt a chill run down her spine. The signs were there, if one knew where to look. The sudden silence from outlying colonies, the unexplained movements of alien fleets, the ominous static that filled the comm channels. Something was coming, a storm that threatened to engulf them all. Orders, Captain. Cade's gruff voice cut through her reverie. Zara turned to face her crew, their faces etched with a mix of anticipation and unease. They knew, as she did, that they stood on the precipice of something greater than themselves, a turning point that would define the future of their species. For a moment, Zara hesitated, the weight of her decision bearing down on her like a physical force. To turn back now, to retreat to the safety of Earth's core worlds, would be to abandon her duty and confirm the judgment of those who had exiled her. But to press on, to confront the gathering darkness head-on, was to risk not only her own life, but the lives of those under her command. In the end, there was no choice at all. Zara straightened, her voice ringing with a clarity and conviction that seemed to fill the bridge. "Set course for the edge," she commanded, her eyes blazing with a fierce determination. "We'll show these aliens what humans are made of." As the Nemesis surged forward, its powerful engines propelling them towards an uncertain future, Zara felt a surge of pride and purpose. This was what she had been born for, the reason she had endured the trials and tribulations that had brought her to this moment. She was a warrior, a champion of humanity, and she would not rest until the stars themselves trembled at the sound of her name. But even as she stood tall, her gaze fixed on the viewscreen that showed the swirling currents of hyperspace, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that they were hurtling towards a darkness far greater than any they had faced before. In the depths of space, ancient powers stirred, their malevolent gazes turning towards the upstart species that dared to challenge their supremacy. As the nemesis hurtled towards its destiny, Zara whispered a silent prayer to the gods of war, entreating them to grant her the strength and courage to face the trials ahead. For she knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that the path she had chosen would demand everything she had to give and more. And so, with a heart full of fire and a will forged in the crucible of adversity, Captain Zara Solari led her ship and her crew into the unknown, determined to carve a place for humanity among the stars, no matter the cost. The die was cast, the gauntlet thrown down. In the cold depths of space, a legend was about to be born, a tale of courage and sacrifice that would echo through the ages. The Erixi Nemesis, a lone human warship manned by a crew of exiles, set forth to meet its fate, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of a species on the brink of ascension. And at its helm stood a woman whose name would become synonymous with defiance in the face of impossible odds, a shining beacon of humanity's indomitable spirit, Captain Zara Solari, the exiled warrior. As the air-sea nemesis ventured deeper into uncharted space, the sense of unease that had plagued Captain Zara Solari only grew. The fragmentary data they had intercepted painted a picture of a galaxy on the brink of war, as ancient alien empires stirred from their slumber and cast covetous eyes towards the upstart human race. Zara stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the holographic displays that surrounded her. The Nemesis' advanced sensors had picked up signs of unusual activity in a nearby star system, a massive concentration of alien ships, their configurations unlike anything in Earth's databases. As she studied the readouts, Zara's brow furrowed in concern. "What do you make of it, Commander?" she asked, turning to Cade Weston. The grizzled veteran leaned forward, his eyes narrowing as he examined the data. "It's a fleet, Captain," he replied, his voice grim. "A big one. Bigger than anything we've seen before. And they're not just gathering. They're preparing for war." Zara nodded, her suspicions confirmed. The alien empires were mobilizing, their forces converging in a show of strength that could only be met as a prelude to invasion. Earth, for all its technological might and military prowess, was woefully unprepared for the scale of the threat that now loomed on the horizon. "We have to warn them," Zara said, her voice filled with a sense of urgency. "Earth needs to know what's coming." But even as she spoke, Zara knew that warning Earth was only half the battle. The Nemesis, for all its advanced capabilities, was still just one ship, a formidable weapon, to be sure, but hardly a match for the combined might of the alien armada that now gathered in the void. To even the odds, they would need to strike first and strike hard, using the element of surprise to their advantage. It was a gamble, a desperate play that could easily backfire and leave them stranded and outgunned in the heart of enemy territory. But Zara knew that they had no choice. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and they could not afford to fail. "Lieutenant Valorous, set a course for the alien fleet," Zara ordered, her voice ringing with authority. "Commander Weston, ready the weapon systems. Dr. Malik, divert all available power to the shields and engines. We're going in." As the crew scrambled to carry out her orders, Zara felt a surge of pride and determination. The Nemesis might be a ship of outcasts and exiles, but they were still human, and humans had a way of defying the odds and emerging victorious against seemingly insurmountable challenges. As the ship slipped into hyperspace, the swirling currents of energy casting an eerie glow across the bridge, Zara's mind raced with the implications of what they were about to do. If they succeeded, they would strike a blow against the alien forces that would be felt across the galaxy, a shockwave that would buy Earth precious time to prepare for the coming storm. But if they failed? Zara pushed the thought from her mind, focusing instead on the task at hand. The Nemesis was a marvel of human ingenuity and engineering, a testament to the boundless potential of her species. With its advanced stealth systems and devastating armaments, they had a chance, slim, perhaps, but a chance nonetheless, of catching the alien fleet unawares and dealing them a crippling blow. As the hours ticked by and the Nemesis drew ever closer to its target, the tension on the bridge grew palpable. Cade paced restlessly, his hand never straying far from the hilt of his sidearm. Nyx, her face a mask of concentration, made minute adjustments to their course, guiding them through the treacherous currents of hyperspace with preternatural skill. And Ezra, hunched over her console, muttered arcane incantations as she coaxed ever more power from the ship's training systems. At last, the moment of truth arrived. The Nemesis dropped out of hyperspace on the outskirts of the alien system, its sensors immediately flooding with data. The alien fleet was there, just as they had anticipated. A vast armada of ships, their hulls bristling with weapons and their energy signatures pulsing with barely contained power. For a moment, Zara felt a flicker of doubt. They were outnumbered and outgunned, facing an enemy that had been honing its craft of war for millennia. What chance did they, a single human ship crewed by outcasts and exiles, have against such overwhelming odds? But as she looked around the bridge, seeing the determination and resolve etched on the faces of her crew, Zara felt her doubts melt away. They were human, and humans had a way of doing the impossible. They would not go quietly into the night, not while a single breath remained in their bodies. "Charge the main cannon," Zara ordered, her voice steady and calm. "Target the flagship. We'll show these aliens what humans are made of." As the Nemesis surged forward, its powerful engines propelling them towards the heart of the alien fleet, Zara felt a surge of exhilaration and purpose. This was what she had been born for, the reason she had endured the trials and tribulations that had brought her to this moment. She was a warrior, a champion of humanity, and she would not rest until the stars themselves trembled at the sound of her name. And so, with a heart full of fire and a will forged in the crucible of adversity, Captain Zara Solari led her ship and her crew into the jaws of the alien armada, ready to unleash the full might of human ingenuity and determination upon an unsuspecting foe. The storm was about to break, and the Nemesis would be the lightning that set the galaxy ablaze. The Araxi Nemesis tore through the void, its sleek hull shimmering with an otherworldly energy as it bore down upon the unsuspecting alien fleet. On the bridge, Captain Zara Solari stood tall, her eyes blazing with a fierce determination as she watched the holographic displays flicker and dance with a kaleidoscope of tactical data. "Status report," she barked, her voice cutting through the tense silence like a blade. "Main cannon charged and ready," Commander Cade Weston reported, his fingers flying over his console. "Targeting systems locked on the flagship, shields at maximum." "Engines at full power," Dr. Ezra Malik chimed in, her voice strained with the effort of coaxing every last ounce of performance from the Nemesis' advanced propulsion systems. "We're running hot, but holding steady." Zara nodded, a grim smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. The Nemesis was a marvel of human engineering, a ship designed to push the boundaries of what was possible. And now, in the heart of enemy territory, facing down a foe that outgunned and outmatched them in every conceivable way, they would put that ingenuity to the ultimate test. "Lieutenant Valorous, bring us in range," Zara ordered, her gaze fixed on the looming hulk of the alien flagship. "Let's show these bastards what humans are made of." As the Nemesis surged forward, its powerful engines propelling them towards the heart of the alien formation, Zara felt a surge of exhilaration and purpose. This was the moment she had been waiting for, the chance to strike a blow against the forces that threatened humanity's very existence. The alien fleet, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the human ship, scrambled to respond. Fighters poured from launch bays, their hulls glinting in the harsh light of the system's star as they moved to intercept the intruder. Larger ships, their hulls bristling with weapons, began to turn ponderously, their crews rushing to bring their systems to full readiness. But the Nemesis was faster, its advanced engines and streamlined design allowing it to slip through the alien defenses like a ghost. Zara watched, her heart pounding, as the distance between them and the flagship dwindled rapidly. "Target locked," Cade reported, his voice tense with anticipation. "Ready to fire on your command." Zara nodded, her finger hovering over the trigger. This was it, the moment of truth. With a single shot, they could strike a blow against the alien forces that would be felt across the galaxy, a shockwave that would buy Earth precious time to prepare for the coming storm. "Fire," she ordered, her voice ringing with a clarity and conviction that seemed to fill the bridge. The Nemesis shuddered as its main cannon unleashed a searing bolt of energy, the blinding white beam lancing out across the void to slam into the heart of the alien flagship. For a moment, the massive ship seemed to shudder, its shields flaring with a sickly radiance as they struggled to absorb the titanic energies of the human weapon. But the Nemesis cannon was no ordinary weapon. Designed to penetrate the toughest of defenses and strike at the very heart of an enemy ship, it tore through the flagship's shields like paper, the beam punching deep into the vessel's core. For a moment, there was silence, a strange, eerie calm that seemed to stretch out into eternity. And then, with a blinding flash of light and a roar that shook the very fabric of space itself, the flagship exploded, its hull shattering into a million fragments as the Nemesis shot found its mark. Zara let out a whoop of triumph, her heart soaring as she watched the alien ship disintegrate before her eyes. Around her, the bridge erupted into cheers, the crew's relief and elation palpable as they realized the magnitude of what they had just accomplished. But even as they celebrated, Zara knew that their battle was far from over. The destruction of the flagship had thrown the alien fleet into chaos, but it would only be a matter of time before they regrouped and came after the Nemesis with a vengeance. "Helm, get us out of here," Zara ordered, her voice cutting through the din of celebration. "We've made our point, but we can't take on the whole fleet alone." As the Nemesis banked hard, its engines flaring with an intense blue light as it accelerated away from the stunned alien armada, Zara allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. They had struck a blow against the alien forces that would be felt across the galaxy, a shockwave that would shake the very foundations of their power. But even as they made their escape, Zara knew that their actions had set in motion a chain of events that would change the course of history. The alien empires, once secure in their dominance, would now see humanity as a threat to be reckoned with. The Nemesis, and the brave crew that manned her, had fired the opening shots in a war that would determine the fate of the galaxy itself. And as she stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past the viewports in a dizzying blur of light, Captain Zara Solari knew that she and her crew would be at the forefront of that conflict, fighting with every ounce of their strength and ingenuity to ensure that humanity emerged victorious. The Tempest had been unleashed, and the galaxy would never be the same again. In the wake of their daring strike against the alien armada, the crew of the Archi Nemesis found themselves the center of attention on a galactic scale. News of their exploits spread like wildfire, whispered in the darkened corners of seedy spaceport bars, and shouted from the rooftops of Earth's gleaming cities. Captain Zara Solari, once a disgraced exile, was now hailed as a hero, a champion of humanity whose name was spoken with reverence and awe. The Nemesis, the ship that had struck a blow against the seemingly invincible alien forces, became a symbol of human defiance and ingenuity, a shining beacon of hope in a galaxy consumed by darkness. But even as they basked in the glow of their newfound fame, Zara and her crew knew that their victory had come at a cost. The alien empires, once dismissive of humanity as a weak and primitive species, now saw them as a threat to be reckoned with. The destruction of their flagship had sent shockwaves through their ranks, shattering their illusions of superiority and galvanizing them into action. Across the galaxy, alien fleets mobilized, their numbers swelling as more and more factions joined the fray. Some sought to claim the Nemesis' advanced technology for themselves, eager to unlock the secrets of human ingenuity and turned them against their creators. Others, driven by a burning desire for vengeance, vowed to hunt down the human ship and its crew, to make them pay for their audacity in blood. Zara, her face lined with weariness, and her eyes haunted by the weight of the losses they had suffered, knew that they could not run forever. Sooner or later, the alien forces would catch up to them. And when they did, the Nemesis would have to stand and fight once more. But even as they braced themselves for the coming storm, Zara and her crew refused to give in to despair. They had tasted victory, had proven to themselves and to the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, and they would not go down without a fight. As the Nemesis plunged deeper into uncharted space, its crew worked tirelessly to repair the damage they had sustained and to upgrade their systems, knowing that every moment of respite was a precious gift. Cade and his team of engineers labored around the clock, jury-rigging repairs, and improvising solutions to keep the ship running. Nix pored over star charts and sensor readings, plotting courses through the most treacherous regions of space in a desperate bid to stay one step ahead of their pursuers. And Zara, her mind racing with strategies and contingencies, pushed herself to the brink of exhaustion, determined to do whatever it took to keep her crew alive. But even as they struggled to stay ahead of the alien forces that now sought their destruction, Zara knew that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. As more and more reports filtered in of alien factions rallying to the cause, of vast armadas gathering in the depths of space, it became clear that the war they had started was far from over. And so, as the Nemesis raced towards an uncertain future, its crew steeled themselves for the battles to come. They had struck a blow against the alien forces that had once seemed invincible, had proven that humanity was a species to be reckoned with. But the price of that victory would be high, and the road ahead would be long and fraught with danger. Yet even in their darkest moments, when the weight of their burden seemed almost too much to bear, Zara and her crew clung to the hope that their actions, however small, might one day make a difference. They had lit a spark, had shown the galaxy that humanity would not go quietly into the night. And though the odds were stacked against them, though the path ahead was shrouded in shadow and uncertainty, they knew that they could not falter now. For they were the crew of the Armada Nemesis, the heroes of humanity, and they would fight to their last breath to ensure that their species had a future among the stars. The price of victory would be high, but they were willing to pay it, knowing that the alternative was a fate worse than death itself. And so, with a fire in their hearts and a steely determination in their eyes, Captain Zara Solari and her crew pressed on, ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy might throw their way. They were human, and they would not be denied their destiny, no matter the cost. As the war raged on, the Armada Nemesis and her crew found themselves pushed to the brink of their endurance. The alien forces, once scattered and disorganized, had rallied under a single banner, united in their determination to crush the human upstarts who had dared to challenge their supremacy. Everywhere the Nemesis turned, they found themselves beset by enemies, hounded by vast armadas and sleek, deadly warships that sought to overwhelm them with sheer numbers and firepower. The crew fought with every ounce of their skill and courage, their ship dancing through the void like a flame, striking blow after blow against their foes before slipping away into the darkness once more. But even as they racked up victory after victory, Zara and her crew knew that they were living on borrowed time. The Nemesis, for all its advanced technology and formidable armaments, was still just one ship, and the strain of constant battle was beginning to take its toll. Systems failed, crew members fell, and supplies dwindled, until at last they found themselves cornered, out of options and out of time. It was then, in their darkest hour, that Zara made the decision that would define her legacy. With the alien forces closing in, their ships blotting out the stars and their weapons charged and ready, she gave the order to evacuate, to abandon the Nemesis and scatter to the winds in a desperate bid for survival. But even as her crew reluctantly obeyed, their faces etched with grief and despair, Zara knew that she could not leave. The Nemesis was more than just a ship to her. It was a symbol, a beacon of hope and defiance in a galaxy consumed by darkness. And she would not let that light be extinguished, not while she still drew breath. And so, as the escape pods jettisoned away into the void, carrying her crew to safety, Zara stood alone on the bridge of the Nemesis, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen that showed the approaching alien armada. She knew that she was going to her death, that there was no escape from the fate that awaited her. But she also knew that her sacrifice would not be in vain. For in that moment, as the alien ships bore down upon her and the Nemesis shuddered under the impact of their weapons, Zara became more than just a captain, more than just a warrior. She became a legend, a shining example of the indomitable human spirit that would inspire generations to come. And as the Nemesis exploded in a blinding flash of light, taking the heart of the alien armada with it, that legend was born. Across the galaxy, people whispered her name, spoke of the woman who had given her life to secure a future for her species. The crew of the Nemesis, those few lucky survivors, became living emblems of her sacrifice, their stories told and retold until they passed into myth and legend. In the years that followed, as humanity rose from the ashes of the war and took its place among the stars, Zara's legacy endured. The technology she and her crew had pioneered became the foundation of a new era of human innovation and expansion, propelling them to heights they had never before dreamed possible. And always at the forefront of that expansion were those who carried on her mission, those brave men and women who had been inspired by her example, and who now fought to ensure that her sacrifice had not been in vain. They were the inheritors of her legacy, the guardians of the future she had bought with her blood. For Zara Solari had shown them the way, had proven that even in the face of impossible odds, humanity could rise to the challenge and emerge victorious. She had given them hope, had shown them that they were not alone in the vastness of the universe, and that they had the strength and the courage to shape their own destiny. And so, as the galaxy turned and the stars wheeled overhead, the legend of Captain Zara Solari and the Arch-Nemesis lived on, a shining beacon of the enduring spirit that had carried humanity to the stars and beyond. Her legacy was one of courage, of sacrifice, and of an unbreakable will that would never be forgotten, not as long as the human heart still beat and the human spirit still yearned for the infinite possibilities of the universe. For she had shown them the way, had given them the strength to chase their dreams and to reach for the stars. And in doing so, she had ensured that humanity would endure, now and forever, a shining light in the darkness of an endless cosmos.